So, if you've watched my channel the last couple weeks, you know I've been doing these videos where I make players 1 year old, okay? I change their age to 1 year old to see what they can do. And obviously, because Madden franchises only last, I think, 30 years, they will last the whole entire franchise, right? Now, I thought about it, because I've been doing it with 2024 rosters. What if I go back to 2007? And I do it with 2007 rosters. This means some of the greatest players of all time. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre. What if all these guys never retired? What if they still played till this day? Still played to 2050? Well, guys, that's what we're about to find out. We're about to see how many Super Bowls the Pittsburgh Steelers can win. And the Patriots. Wait. That's right. The Patriots. There's never going to be a Kansas City Chiefs roster, guys. Oh, I guess eventually there might be. I mean, I'm still doing the correct draft classes, by the way, each year. So each year is still going to bring in the correct players like 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, 12, et cetera, et cetera. It's just players that are never going to retire. So we're going to have a mixed match of all these players. And yes, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is going to be going forever. DeMarcus Ware, Champ Bailey, Bob Sanders, Troy Polamalu. All right. You guys understand. So let's skip forward to the regular season then, and let's just see how this all shakes out. It's going to be a long video, by the way. I'm not expecting this to be a short video at all, because my last video I uploaded today was very similar to this, except it was we retire the 3 best players every year. And that video, I think, took me like 7 hours to do. So this is going to be a very long video. So this is how we do it, by the way. So, for example, you input local file, and we're looking at the 2008 NFL draft. So we go down to this one right here, and this is the draft that we would have. So, for example, we have Case. All right, so I fixed it. Not sure why that happened, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So, Chris Long, third best guy. We have Matt Ryan, Jake Long, McFadden, Glenn Dorsey. So, an interesting NFL draft. Now, keep in mind, these players, I think these players are set to 1 year old as well. Let me see. Jamal Charles, his age is 21. Okay, so I'm going to have to reset the ages of these players as well. But we'll do that in the future. But for right now, these players are going to be 21 years old, and then we're set it to 1 year old in the future. But let's go ahead and go back here. Let's go back and let's start going ahead and going through this. So 2007 week 1, Raiders. We're going to start off with the Raiders here. Raiders win 1-0. Okay, nice. Now, their ages really doesn't matter for the player. It does help them with progression, but it doesn't help them at all when it comes to regression. I mean, it doesn't go against them when it comes to regression. So the players are not going to get worse because they're 1 year old, right? But they're going to get better when it comes to that. But it doesn't help out when it comes to them playing better. They don't get injuries less. None of that stuff actually matters when it comes to this. And speaking of that, I actually do have to do something real fast. I have to set the settings to all pro, but I have to set this to auto. This way we don't have to worry about making any decisions. We can let the CPU kind of control everything. But let's just keep it going. As always, I do sim the first season just to see how things shake out. And then the rest of the seasons we'll go through and I'll skip them and, cut out that part so it's not, in the video. But I do like to go ahead and do the first period here just to see how this all goes, see how everything kind of shakes out. It's always fun to look at the 2007 season. And so far, the AFC West is actually a powerhouse. Oh, never mind. Okay, I saw the first 2 teams. I didn't see the bottom 2 teams. 5-3, 5-3, 3-5, 3-5. Yeah, this Raiders here, they are mid as crap. Which is weird, because usually they do good in my franchise series. Usually the Raiders are a pretty dang good squad. 2007 was weird, though, because they did get Jamarcus Russell. He was obviously a bust. it didn't really work out too well for them. So I guess it's not really too surprising that they're doing awful here. Keep in mind, the first season is going to be 17 games. Seasons after that will be your typical football league, which is 18 game schedule, 17 games total. Okay, so it looks like they're going to go 6-11, 6-10, excuse me. Nope, they went 5-11. Very mid. All right, looks like they're going to make me upgrade. I'm not sure why, because I have it set to auto, but let's just take a look at the standings. So 16-0. This is the second time the Cowboys went 16-0 in my franchise series. I don't know why they keep going 16-0, but also look how amazing some of these teams are. I say that as I'm going toward the bottom, but like at the top here, I mean 16-0, 13-3, 15-1, 12-4. Dang. But you know, for some reason, Tony Romo is just like OP in my series so far. I don't know why I clicked on this, but every time I do a franchise series of 2007, it's like Tony Romo is like the best quarterback of all time. He won MVP, obviously. Tom Brady also very successful there. Let's go to NFL here. So Romo, 47 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. LT led the league for running backs. Donald Driver, wide receivers. Let's go ahead and take a look at sack totals. Patrick Kearney and Lance Briggs. Okay, Sean Merriman as well. Terrence Newman back when he was, dominant. I'm going to guess the Cowboys win the Super Bowl because that's usually how it shakes out when it comes to this. It's usually always the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. And I do not know why they keep going 19-0 in my franchise series. Like, my last one was the first time I ever seen a team go 19-0. Let's see, who's in the Super Bowl? It has to be the Cowboys. Yep, it's the Cowboys. So if they win this, they're going to be 19-0 in this series already, starting off right away. This is probably why I have so much hatred toward them. It's because in my franchise series now, back-to-back, they lost. Oh, they went 18-1. That's hilarious. That's actually freaking hilarious. All right. Well, let's get to the offseasons, guys. All right, so our first NFL draft we have here, Matt Ryan is the first pick overall. Okay, Joe Flacco is the second pick. Reason why I take a step back there, because usually Jake Long or Chris Long is the first pick in my videos. So kind of interesting how it ends up being the back-to-back quarterbacks. Usually in Madden, you do not see that as much, is back-to-back quarterbacks in these drafts. But hey, listen, first time for everything, I guess. Jordy Nelson, Ray Rice went to the Bengals. That's an interesting player going to the Bengals. You got Charles Godfrey. Okay, some of these guys, again, as I'm doing these videos more and more, I'm remembering some of these guys. But some of them pop up and I'm just like, wow, that guy. Either he was a bust or he was actually pretty good. All right, let's get into the season. All right, so we have the Seahawks beat the Colts. And by the way, guys, I'm going to look at records and all that kind of stuff later in this video when players actually start breaking records. But for early on, I'm not going to, just because they aren't going to break any records yet. Players don't start breaking NFL records usually until around like the 5th or 6th year in a franchise. So, for example, right now, none of these are going to get broken just yet. They will in the future, obviously, again, but for right now, they won't. These, again, very possible they could get broken sometime soon, but again, I'm going to wait until a little bit into the franchise to do that. So, as I was saying, no. The best quarterback in the NFL was Mark Bolger. You don't remember Mark Bolger? He was actually the Rams quarterback for a long time, but he was also the backup for Joe Flacco for a little bit of time. LT, best running back, 2,000 yards as well, 28 touchdowns. Dang. Torrey Holt, 1,400 yards. Okay. We have sack total, Jason Taylor. Interception is Champ Bailey. Nice, 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 nice. And let's take a look at the awards for this right here. So again, I'm going to reset all the rookies' ages back down to 1 year old. But Don McNabb won MVP. LT won the Chargers, won Offensive Player of the Year. Andy Reid was Coach of the Year, but for the Eagles, back when he was with the Eagles. Interesting. So Patrick Kearney won Defensive Player of the Year and Super Bowl MVP. The amount of times in these franchise series now where these, like, the quarterbacks not winning MVP, like in the Super Bowl, is actually crazy. Like it keeps happening throughout my franchise series. Like last year in this franchise series, Lewis won. This year it's Patrick, and we're probably not going to see a quarterback MVP in a Super Bowl this whole entire video. But let's go ahead and skip forward, guys. All right, so let's take a look at how this draft situation went down. This is the Matthew Stafford draft, actually, and he actually went pick number 1, interestingly enough. I think outside of Matthew Stafford, there isn't really any other crazy great quarterbacks in this draft class. Mark Sanchez obviously played for the Jets, went to, I think, back-to-back AFC Championship games under the Rex Ryan era's team. Josh Freeman, Darius Butler, obviously a Colts corner for a very long time. Not a quarterback, but yeah, there wasn't many good quarterbacks in this draft class outside of Matthew Stafford. Interestingly enough. And by the way, I did just make all the last draft pick rookies 5 years old. So they're all young again. I'm going to have to make these players young again as well, but let's get into the season, guys. All right, so we have a Jaguars loses to the Cowboys 17-14. Interesting. And by the way, shout out to the fact the Cowboys did not go undefeated in this franchise series. Went undefeated in my last franchise series, but not this one. Texans are 2-15, and I feel bad for the Texans because I don't think they're going to get any better anytime soon, especially with all these players continuously being in the NFL for pretty much forever now. Tony Dungy. I forgot about him. He went to the Super Bowl versus Lovie Smith and the Chicago Bears. Anyway, though, let's go to stats, and here we go. And let's go ahead and look at NFL. Got Tony Romo, Philip Rivers, Brett Favre, best in the league this year. LT, Eric Mounds. Okay, some of these players are still kind of don't know as well. Or I don't have as well recollection of some of these players. Sean Merriman, Warren Sapp. We got Champ Bailey, Wade. So taking a look at this, it should be. Let's go back to rosters here. Taking a look at this, it should be the players are. There we go. Yeah. So all the players are 4 years old, 1 year old, whatever the case. Okay, I don't know why his name's free agent, by the way, but this is weird. So I set their ages to 5 years old, and it looks like they reset their ages, some of these players. Now, I know whenever I do ages, it sometimes like messes up and glitches, but I might have to reset their ages again because it looks like the rookie draft class ones are kind of glitching it. But one sec, guys. We'll get on to the next draft class. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the draft class. Import local file, and this is going to be 2010. So this is going to be the Sam Bradford draft class. The Eric Berry, Trent Williams. Which quarterbacks we got here? We got Tim Tebow, Colt McCoy. Okay. We got halfbacks, wide receivers, DT, Des Bryant, Dexter, Golden Tate, Rob Gronkowski draft class. Okay, so this was a good draft class. This draft class produced a lot of Hall of Famers. So, going to be interested to see where everybody goes. But one sec, guys. Another year, another draft class to take a look at. So, let's see where everybody went. So, we got Sue went pick number 1. Bradford went pick number 4. Okay. Going up down here, Dan Williams, Joe Hayden. Dang, seeing these guys in different uniforms just feels wrong. It just feels weird to see Des Bryant, who was a Cowboy for the longest time, in a Rams uni. That's weird. I mean, it's not a rival there, but it's so weird to see. Rob Gronkowski on the Cowboys, that actually does kind of make a little bit of sense. Tim Tebow on the Jets, he would actually play for the Jets eventually, so that actually works out pretty well. Ed Dixon, who was a Raven. Any other? It's like none of these are crazy where it's like a player goes to like an absolute rival. Like Emmanuel Sanders, he played for most of his career with Pittsburgh, but then he also, I believe he played for the Saints at one point, and he also played for. Wait, am I thinking about the correct guy here? Because Emmanuel Sanders, I thought he did play for the Saints for a little bit. Because I know he played for the Steelers. He played for... Yeah, I was right. He played for 4 years for Pittsburgh. Then he played for Denver. Then he played for the 49ers. Okay, I thought he was on the Saints at one point. My bad. Jimmy G, obviously played for the Bears and Panthers. Oh, Panthers. Oh, my. The Saints and the Bears. He started on the Bears, then he went to the Saints, and then he went back to the Bears. But let's get right into the season, guys. Another year, another Super Bowl. And this one is actually won by the Indianapolis Colts, interestingly enough. So what I've realized or found out is that for the draft classes, you cannot change your age, which kind of does suck, but at the same time, it's weird. So the system says they're 5 years old, but the game can't process that you're changing their age. So it's a really weird system. Again, Madden is kind of a flawed video game, let's be honest. It's not the greatest video game of all time. Nonetheless, Carson Palmer led the NFL here, and now that we're like a couple seasons in, we're going to start seeing some of these players start to break some records. So let's take a look at this real fast. Single game record. Now, it's going to be weird because we started in what? Okay, hold up. Why did Joe Burrow in 2005 break the single game record? We started this franchise in 2007. I don't know how Joe Burrow did that, but okay. That's a interesting situation, but we're looking for records that are broken after 2007. Okay, so anything after 2007 would technically be a record that's broken. Joe Burrow. Congratulations, guys. Joe Burrow did it. I'm not sure how that exactly works, but hey, listen. I'll ask a question. All right, so Sean Merriman in 2009 broke the single sack game, well, tied the single sack game record for 7. Okay, interesting. Defensive interceptions. And then for passing yards for a season, 2006 is before this franchise started. 2009, Tony Romo hit 45. Okay. It's going to be weird saying Tony Romo in like 2024. Just saying, that's going to be a little weird to see, but let's go receiving yards here. Okay, nothing special, crazy. Receiving touchdowns. We got 2007, Deshaun Jackson for the 49ers. That's definitely not Deshaun Jackson, by the way. I'm not sure which guy that is, but Deshaun Jackson doesn't come into the game for a little bit. So let's go passing yards, and then we're going to go for this one, which is the career. So obviously, players like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, who are going to continuously play for a very long time, they're going to continue to break these records and hold these records. So that's going to kind of be forever type of scenario here. But let's go ahead and do this. So what I'm going to do is... I'm going to keep doing it the way I'm doing it. I was going to say I'm going to advance 10 years and then just show you guys the recap. But I think I'm just going to keep doing it the way I'm doing it, just so we can see all like the draft classes and stuff like that. Because I know you guys love seeing that. And to me, it's always interesting seeing where players go. But not sure why Jake Locker is black in this. In real life, he is a white guy. But first pick overall. He actually played for Cam Newton to the Commanders. Wow. He actually played for the Titans in real life. And retired very young, actually. I think it was due to injuries, though. But Andy Dalton goes to the Seahawks. So the Red Rifle to the Seattle Seahawks. That's interesting. Torrey Smith, who was a Raven, ended up going to Eagles. I believe he played for the Eagles later on in his career. The Jets got Colin Kaepernick, which is kind of funny because that's the team that Colin actually sent a letter to, trying to actually talk to them. He wanted to meet with or join their practice squad, and they were actually very reluctant about having him join. So kind of interesting. He goes there in the end. But let's get right into the season, guys. And the Chargers beat the Seahawks. Interesting. Cowboys went 14-3, but I don't know why every single video is about the Cowboys. But the Vikings went 2-15. Ugh. Kind of disgusting. Anyway, the Super Bowl MVP was a Drayton Florence. As I said, there's going to be no quarterbacks. For some reason, when I do these franchise series, it's never a quarterback who wins MVP. Tony Romo, we got LT, Sean Merriman, Patrick Peterson for the Bills was Rookie of the Year. Mark Ingram was Rookie of the Year as well. So, interesting there. Let's see what our stats look like. And again, this early, like what in 2011 now, 2010, 2011, this is not really surprising to see some of these guys. It's going to get more surprising, though, as we get closer to 2020 to see some of these guys still playing and playing at a high level nonetheless. So, one sec. 2012 year. This was actually the year of Andrew Luck and RG3, which actually was a pretty good year quarterback-wise. I mean, obviously RG3 didn't work out in the end. But Andrew Luck did for the little bit of time he was, in the league, and then he got hurt and he didn't play anymore. Ryan Tannehill as well. He was successful once he left Miami and then went back to Miami. Russell Wilson, he actually ended up being a 4th-round pick in real life. Brock Osweiler went to the Bills. Okay. Kind of thought he was going to go to the Texans for a second. The quarterback draft class for this year was kind of interesting how none of these guys actually worked out in the end. Oh, wait, Kirk Cousins. I forgot about Kirk was in this draft class. All right, maybe Kirk has it. He still has it going there. But you also got Nick Foles, Big Dick Nick, Get that going. Get that one going. Let's get it, boy. Super Bowl in 2012. We got the Chargers went 14-3. Interesting. They won the conference again. I wonder if we're going to start seeing new teams, start to really become good or not. How did the Steelers win the AFC North at 7-10? Lordy. Okay. Yeah. We're at that point of the franchise where things aren't even making sense anymore. All right, so the Bucs beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Interesting. Let's go back and let's go over to our stats here. Let's go down to NFL here. Okay, so Tony Romo, John Kitna. John Kitna still in the league in 2012. Okay, there's a problem. There might be an actual problem when John Kitna is still in the league, man. Calvin Johnson. I mean, Calvin Johnson being in the league isn't really that crazy. He joined the league in like 2008, I believe. So that's like not too insane. But, all right. So let's get to the next draft. All right. So let's take a look at this draft recap real fast. So we have DeAndre Hopkins went to the Raiders. Interesting. Okay, so this was a pretty bad quarterback draft class overall-wise. First quarterback off the board was not even in the first... Nope. E.J. Manuel. Oh, this was the E.J. Manuel. Geno Smith. Who else? What's the next quarterback off the board? Matt Barkley. Some of these names kind of make me laugh, man. Just, some of these names are kind of interesting. We got Mike Glennon. Okay. Who else we got? What's the next big name on this list, boys? Wow, there's no quarterback selected for a little bit here. Tyler Wilson. And the Steelers beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Okay. Buccaneers 14-3, Bengals 12-5. Going down here. What's the weirdest team here? 8-9 made the playoffs. Okay, that's not too crazy insane. Especially when we see a 7-10 team make the playoffs. 8-9 doesn't surprise me at all. But Carson Palmer is still rocking it, which I believe he was still rocking it later on, because he got drafted, 2003. So, 2003, right now, what year are we in? 2013. It's only 10 years into his career, so that's actually not that crazy that he's still playing. Jamarcus Russell on an NFL team still is kind of crazy, but I guess RG3 was still kicking in 2013. Obviously, he just got drafted. Brett Favre still going. That's not really that crazy. Steve Smith Senior. That's funny, too. This is Steve Smith, the Carolina Panthers variant, who actually was on the Panthers, and the other Steve Smith was on that team. Interesting. So they kind of need a swap-a-roo right there. Let's go to defense, though. That's another thing we're going to start seeing because these players are still in the league and they're still young. Keep that in mind. They're going to start going to different teams. So we're going to start seeing some of these guys go to different teams. I set everyone's age, by the way, back to 5 years old because why not? You know, we're trying to keep these guys in the league as long as humanly possible. But I do want to see something real fast because we saw this in my last video. If you keep players in the league for a very long time, even if they're bad players, right? Even if they're not that good, what ends up happening is they end up progressing, right? Because you're like starting at 1 year old. They'll progress up to almost a 99 overall because they've been in the league so long. So because they're in the league as long as they are, that's why we're seeing what we're seeing here. We're seeing a lot of 99s, a lot of 98 overalls because they've been in the league so long. So this is going to get interesting because I'm surprised more teams aren't better. Like, I'm surprised at what point does every team just become kind of like, you know, the same, I guess the same record, or they all become 500 teams. Because if every single team has 99s and every single team is pretty even, I feel like at some point there should just be an even across the board type scenario. But so far we're not seeing that, which is kind of surprising. With how many 99s, I mean, we have more 99s in the game in this franchise than ever in history before. So, but again, like I said, we're going to keep rocking and rolling and see how this goes, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to the NFL here. First pick overall, Greg Robinson. Khalil Mack went to the Bills. Interesting. Sammy Watkins to the Giants. Mike Evans to the Panthers. Okay, that's an interesting one. Blake Bortles to the Commanders. Odell Beckham to the Cowboys. I feel like that's very logical. So, wait, the Dolphins, did they get Sue? I can't remember. Because now they got Donald. That would be, to have Sue and Donald back to back would be insanity on your defensive line. Especially them in their prime. Derek Carr, okay, Jimmy G, back-to-back picks there. Got Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Roosevelt. Who's the next quarterback? Johnny Manziel goes to Denver. Brennan Perner would love that one. Going down this list here. Who's the next one on this list quarterback-wise? No quarterback selected for quite a bit, actually. It's kind of funny how in real life, you know, it does happen somewhat like this, where quarterbacks will go for a drought before they get selected again. Next quarterback is Logan Thomas. Okay, I kind of forgot about him. I remember Logan Thomas. AJ McCarron's next. I remember the tight end, Logan Thomas. Tom Savage. But this kind of happens in real life, too. There's a drought. But I feel like in Madden, there's more of a drought than in real life. I just always feel like it's a little bit weird. Like, quarterbacks either get selected way too early, or it's kind of like all at once. But let's get into the season, guys. 1 sec. And the Chargers win the Super Bowl. I feel like the Chargers have been dominant this whole entire video so far. They've been, like, the best team in this video. Anyway, though, no crazy playoffs, it looks like. 2-15 Giants, 4-13 Denver Broncos. We're about to go into the 2015 NFL year, but the MVP was Andrew Luck. Clinton Portis was Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Julius Peppers, Aaron Donald, Rookie of the Year, and Martavius Bryant, the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver from way back in the day, actually was the Rookie of the Year. Interesting. Okay, I don't know why I clicked on schedule. Let me click on stats, and let's look at the stats for the year. So Jamarcus Russell's still kicking it with the Raiders there. So Vikings apparently on top right now. Giants 2-15 with Eli Manning. Not a 2 Super Bowl champion in this franchise like he was in real life. Julius Peppers still leading the league there. Andre Dyson. Not Rison. Rison was the wide receiver for the Falcons. But let's get into the next draft, guys. And we got our next set of new players. Nelson Aguilar went to the Raiders. Wait, didn't he go to the Raiders in real life? No, he went to Eagles. No, he did play 1 year for the Raiders, but he also played for the Eagles. We got Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, back-to-back picks here. So kind of what we expect here. I'm just honestly looking at quarterbacks when it comes to this. I'm going through all these players, guys, but I'm just interested to see where quarterbacks end up going, because that's always like the one position where when you compare it to real life, that's usually a make or break type of career type player. But it looks like our next quarterback is Sean Mannion. Okay. Interesting. Then we got Garrett Grayson. Interesting. Now, I only have draft classes up to 2022. We're going to go up to 2050, but at some point, we're going to have to just start simming fake players because I don't have draft classes more than that. Wait. No, I think I might. We might be able to go all the way up to 2050, guys. All right, so we got the Steelers won the Super Bowl again. They went 15-2. I feel like it's just like the same records every year. Maybe my theory last year was actually correct, where it's like every team eventually is going to be just even across the board. But we did have Carson Palmer win MVP for the Bengals. We have Melvin Gordon. We have Rookie of the Year with Leonard Williams. Tommy Harris and LT winning Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year. Interesting. Big Ben won Super Bowl MVP. So I think that was like a first actual Super Bowl MVP quarterback this year. I mean, this franchise so far, which is kind of interesting. The Raiders won't give up on Jamarcus Russell. That's pretty much a guarantee at this point. They're going to remain with the Jamarcus Russell sweepstakes until apparently it expires. I don't know. That's an interesting theory here. Anyway, Keith Bullock led the Titans in sacks. And then Eric Berry. So again, we have 0 players retiring every year, by the way, guys, because everyone's 5 years old. Nobody retires. So, like, there isn't a retirement tab. There's supposed to be a retirement tab, but there isn't a retirement tab. So, like, okay, now my coaches can retire. Excuse me. Coaches can retire. But players do not retire. Coaches can, though. But that's kind of obvious, because eventually, you know, you get to a point where you just don't go through it anymore. 2016. That's 2017. Let me fix that. That's 2017. 2016, that's the correct one. This is the Jared Goff, Carson Wentz year with Ezekiel Elliott as well, Jalen Ramsey. So some of these players should not be in the league anymore, but they're still kicking it. All right, so let's see where everyone goes. Looks like Jared Goff went to the Raiders, so they're apparently done with Jamarcus Russell. It's gonna be interesting too, because Jamarcus Russell, I don't know where he's gonna go, because he's a long way away from retirement. I'll say it like that. Guy's not gonna retire for another probably 30-40 years. So especially with the fact they keep resetting his age. Oh, they got Derrick Henry too. They got Jared Goff and Derrick Henry in the same draft. That's a dangerous draft. Okay, I give them the Raiders props. Kendall Fuller, that's not a bad pick at all. All right, so the Raiders apparently changing around the narrative. They're actually going to get better, which finally it looks like after all this time. I don't know if he ends up becoming good or not, but let's get right into this year, guys. Well, we got the Cardinals won a Super Bowl. They went 14-3 and won it all, so yeah. I don't know. It's like it's getting to a point now where it's at least the Cardinals won, but some of the same teams are keep making the playoffs and being successful. And I'm like, bro, I just want a new team to come out of nowhere and start playing great. But Ben won MVP yet again. Josh Doxson, Miles Jack, so some of the players you probably know of personally, are now kind of joining the league a little bit. But Derek Brooks, still kicking it in the league. Kurt Warner won Super Bowl MVP for the Cardinals, so he's still in the Cardinals, interestingly enough. Let's go ahead and go. Wait, hold up. They drafted Jared Goff, and they're still using Jamarcus Russell? Raiders. That is such a Raiders move. That is like the most Raiders headline of all time. You draft a new quarterback early, but you're still using the old guy. That's it, man. Jason Taylor, Antonio Cromartie. Okay, leads the league right now, but let's go ahead and go into 17? The 2017 NFL draft. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is, I believe, the Patrick Mahomes draft. I want to say. Is it? No, it's not. I think that was 2018. No, it is 20. It is Patrick Mahomes draft. I was correct. Okay, so 2018 is the Lamar Jackson draft. So, yeah. All right, let's see where everything goes. So, the Raiders are being the Raiders. The Eagles got Myles Garrett. That is dangerous. That is absolutely dangerous. Trubisky goes to the Seahawks. Okay. Who gets Patrick Mahomes is the question. And all of these teams passing on Patrick Mahomes is criminal. The Ravens got Patrick Mahomes. Well, I guess Lamar Jackson isn't going to there. We had a back-to-back run on quarterbacks. The Browns got Deshaun Watson. I almost love this video now because of that one fact that they got Deshaun Watson of everybody. Davis Webb, okay. That's beautiful. That's absolutely gorgeous. All right, guys, let's get right into the season. One day the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl in this franchise. But the 9-8 Bears had to do it first, baby. Yeah. 16-1 Vikings. The Vikings are kicking it. I'll be honest with you. They're doing pretty good. Other than going to or winning the Super Bowl, they're still becoming a very successful franchise. They're doing what the Cowboys actually like to do. But it's because they have Tony Romo now. Because Romo is still in the league in 2017. And yeah, he's still somewhat successful, I guess. Let's go ahead and go to the stats here. And yes, Jamarcus Russell was still the starting quarterback for the Raiders because the Raiders are being the Raiders about it. I'm not controlling any depth charts. I'm letting the CPU do everything. Just keep that in mind. Like, again, not zero control of this completely. Derek Brooks is still destroying the league in his 23rd season. 23 seasons in the league. This man is still kicking it. All right, so let's see our next one here. Who is our next situation? Actually, let's look at records and everything real fast so we don't forget about this. Anyway, so no one broke the passing yards except for 2005 Joe Burrow. Oh, that is so weird to say out loud. 2015. Okay, so I think that's AJ Green, I believe, for the Texans. Broke the record for... That cannot be AJ Green. It's rushing touchdowns. Not sure who that is. Something Green broke. Okay, that sounds weird, but Marquise Colson, 2013. Again, this is kind of weird because some of these are like from our franchise, but some of them are not. Because some of these are before, in the actual real life from these said times, and then some of them are from our franchise. But like stuff like 2017, that's definitely going to be us, okay? Derek Brooks in 2017 wasn't getting 6 sacks. I'll tell you that. That's definitely a little bit of a difference there when it comes to, that record. I don't think that was that. And Tony Romo for the Vikings, 2007, also do not believe that was Tony Romo for the Cowboys, Tony Romo. I mean, I don't believe that was real life. I think that was this franchise. Adrian Peterson, that was also this franchise. He had 30 touchdowns. Hold up. I'm going to go through all these real fast, and then we're going to look at stats again. I did not look at the touchdowns. Anquan Bolden, 2016, broke it. Nice. Defensive sacks. Defensive interceptions. I got to look back at this, what's it called? At the touchdowns on Adrian Peterson. That is crazy. Rushing touchdowns, okay. We have catches. So we're starting to see some players kind of creep into that. And they will, because again, right now we're only, 10 years in this league. But as it goes on and on, we're going to start seeing some of these players creep in. Especially because I keep resetting everyone's age to like 5 years old. Hold up. Hold the fluff up. Rushing. He had 30 rushing touchdowns. 1,600 yards and 30 that is, yeah, okay. That is definitely probably the best will ever see. We have never seen that in the actual NFL. We probably never will. I think like 18 or maybe 20 is the most. I think Sean Alexander broke it, I believe. And this is 2018. Yeah, okay, so this is the Lamar Jackson draft class. So let's go ahead and do that. So 2018 right here. And this is the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, but more importantly, Josh Allen, Rosen, and Lamar Jackson. So let's go ahead and sim this, baby. All right, so first pick overall was Saquon Barkley. So the Bengals went 4-13 and then took Saquon Barkley. The Bills took Baker Mayfield. Okay. Sam Darnold to the Commanders. Josh Allen to the Chiefs. Interesting. Lamar went to the Titans. Okay. Josh Rosen to the Dolphins. That is actually, I think, where he ended up after the Cardinals, I believe. So it's kind of interesting how he eventually ends up in the same spot as he is now. That guy's name I could never say correctly. So Fred Warner went to the Giants. Okay, so instead of the 49ers, goes to the Giants instead. Another interesting one. We have a lot of interesting players going interesting places. So the Bills got Sam... Wait, they get Sam Darnold? Who was that first pick? Baker Mayfield. They got Baker Mayfield, and then they also got Mark Andrews. So I don't know if that's going to work out. Hayden Hurst went to the Ravens again. Ravens took him in real life, and they also took him in this franchise. That's another interesting drafting right there. Mike Gesicki went to the 49ers. I feel like he would be a perfect 49er in all honesty. Mason Rudolph went to the Broncos. Okay. So let's get right into the season, guys. One sec. And the Texans win their first Super Bowl. Shout out to the Texans, man. Actually getting the job done here. So, again, like I said many times, who's the worst team in the league? The Bengals took Saquon Barkley and won 2 more games in that season. I still don't know how the whole league isn't at this point just even. I really feel like the whole league should just be even at this point. Kurt Warner is still in the Cardinals. He's still winning MVP awards. Saquon Barkley for the Bengals won Rookie of the Year, but, for what? The guy literally scored... they won 2 more games. Jamarcus Russell. Ooh, look, they actually gave Jared Goff a little bit of playtime. Nice. 5,100 yards. Man, these guys are crazy. Trent Green, Travaris Jackson. I keep forgetting that so many quarterbacks are still in the league. Joseph Adai. Okay, who led the league? Sean Alexander. Okay. I just wanted to see if anyone would lead the league in what's called, not touchdown. Yeah, I want to see who had the most touchdowns. All right, so Sue is still destroying, looks like. We still got the most interceptions right there. And what I want to look at now, and I want to look at this every once in a while, is overalls. Because we had a lot of 99s last time we looked. Yeah, so quarterbacks, there's a good amount of 99s. A decent amount. All right. Michael Vick's the 94. Bro, these guys need to retire, but they're 7 years old. They're not going to retire when they're 7. Imagine they retired when they're 7 years old, guys. They have so much career left in them. Tony Richardson. Renzo Neal still in the league. This is just crazy, man. This is absolutely insanity. Alright, we got Randy Moss. All these players still in the league. We're now getting to a point where these players being in the league isn't really crazy when it comes to the newer players like Lamar Jackson because those guys should be in the league still. Some of these Hall of Fame players should not. Jonathan Ogden is still in the league. 23rd season. Yeah, see, that's when we're talking about some crazy, crazy players still in the league. When Jonathan Ogden is still in the league in 2019 now. Yeah. I think at one point, what is he like now? He's probably 46 years old. Maybe, no, probably way older than that. Strahan's still in the league. No player can retire. You can't retire at 7 years old. That's just, that's unethical. But it's also now to a point where J.J. Watt and T.J. Watt are going to be playing together potentially. Which I know in real life there was a chance that JJ at the end of his career did go and play for the Steelers. He actually was almost going to sign with them. Didn't end up signing with them in the end, but there was a chance he was going to sign with them in the end. But Brian Cushion still in the league. That's actually not that crazy, to be honest. James Harrison, AJ Hawk. Let's see, corners. All right, so Jarrell Revis is still in the league at this point, which kind of was Patrick Surtain Sr. is still in the league. Not even the junior yet, but the senior is still there. Reggie Nelson. We got Brian Dawkins still in the league, and he's still at 99. Again, like I said, all these guys are just 99, so they're still like the best of the best player-wise. Yeah, we got punters still in the league. Yeah, so we're still going, boys. We're still going here. So I'm not even sure how long this video is going to be, by the way. It's probably going to be like 17 hours long, I feel like. But let's just see. 2019, this was the Kyler Murray draft. Okay. Was this the... Was 2018 the TJ Watt draft? Hang on. No, it might have been 2018. Yeah, I think that was 2018. Alright. Well, this is the Nick Bosa draft, though. And we have our next draft. Wait, hold up. my game's kind of messed up right now. Let me try doing this. Hopefully, guys, it's gonna work. Okay, hold up. There we go, okay. Not sure what happened there, but anyway, Kyler Murray went to the Jags. Quinnen Williams, number 2. Okay. Daniel Jones went to the Falcons. Interesting. Dwayne Haskins, RIP. And again, he went to the Giants. I don't think the Giants are really successful in this franchise, so that's kind of funny. Drew Lock again went to the Broncos. He went there in real life as well. So that actually works out pretty well for them. Who else we got here? Going down this list here. Who's the next quarterback off the board in 2019? Wow, no quarterbacks for a little bit of time here. Next quarterback, Gardner Minshew went to the Ravens. Okay. Then we have Easton Stick. We got Ryan Finley. Remember him. Jarrett Stidham. All right, guys, tell me down below. Let's get on to the season, guys. You know things are going bad when the Browns win the Super Bowl. And also the Raiders are a 99 everything, but yet not successful. 6-11, and the Raiders are a 99 offense, 99 defense, 99 special teams. How? I guess because every single team in the NFL is a 99 overall. That is insanely crazy. All right. Well, let's just take a look at the stats, and we'll get on to the 2020 year, which, again, kind of crazy. Feels like we've been doing this video forever, and it probably will be a very long video, but tell me down below also your thoughts and opinions. I usually do shorter videos, but lately we've been doing a lot longer videos. Tell me what you prefer. Do you prefer long videos, short videos? Because I could take some of these videos I do, like for example, this one's gonna be a long video. I could cut them up and make them shorter. I know some people like to see all this stuff I show off in this video, so that's kind of why I make them a little bit longer, but definitely tell me your thoughts. But 2020 is our last, never mind, I have 2023. I don't have 2024. Oh, that's gonna be a problem. I could probably get that. Okay, so we're going 2020 here. This is the Joe Burrow year, by the way, so this is the King is back year. All right, so draft recap. Let's take a look at how this ended up turning out. NFL, Chase Young goes number 1 to the Bengals. So they're going 4-13 like every year, and they don't go with Joe Burrow. That's crazy work. The Cowboys went with Joe Burrow. Well, Cowboys about to win some Super Bowls. GG to that. Tua goes to the Bears. Herbo goes back to the Chargers. This obviously is the San Diego Chargers, though, because they never moved to LA in this franchise. The Rams go with Jordan Love. Okay. Who else we got here? We got Jalen Hurts. Wait, he went to the Seahawks? Okay, that's not crazy. Who's the next quarterback from this draft class? It's actually interesting. Let's see. Skipping forward here. No other quarterback? Okay, Jacob Eason. And then we got James Morgan. And we probably won't... Okay, there we go. Jake Fromm. All right, so let's get right into the season, guys. 1 sec. And we got a Tennessee Titans beat the San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl. And the Redskins apparently are the best team in the league again. So... Oh, wow. All right, the Bills made the playoffs 8-9. Our next really weird situation. Wait, what did the Cowboys do? The Cowboys went 11-6 with Joe Burrow. Okay. And it looks like the bam, bam, bam. Andrew Luck was MVP. So the Vikings have the MVP like every year, it feels like, but they can't win the Super Bowl with him. They can't even get to the Super Bowl with him, which is kind of been the Vikings, situation. How is Jamarcus Russell? Jared Goff left the Raiders, and the Raiders still have Jamarcus Russell. They took Jared Goff, top 10. It's like the Raiders, in all honesty, I just feel like they're meant to fail. Like, I hate to say that, but, like, bro, I feel like they're meant to fail. They're just... Like, there's a mentality of, like, the Raiders way, like how the Raiders do things, and it's just crazy. 2020, Randy Moss is still kicking it with 1,200 yards a season. I mean, hey, it works, I guess. Warren Sapp, still one of the best in the league. We have Aaron Glenn, who's one of the best in the league. Rondé Barber. A lot of players who probably should be retired by now, but hey, still the best in the league. And we're only getting started. 2021, baby. Who is this 2021 draft class? I feel like the older ones I remember more than the newer ones at this point. Oh, this is the Black Trevor Lawrence draft class. Okay, so these portraits are not correct. Not sure why these portraits are so messed up. But yeah, so these portraits are definitely a tad bit off. I'll be honest on that. So the weird-looking Zach Wilson goes to the Raiders. The Raiders, for some reason, take another quarterback who I guess they're just not going to use and end up throwing away. I'm not sure, again, like I said, why the portraits are kind of messed up. The portrait's been correct for every single year now, except for this season, for some reason. This 2021 draft class. Like, this guy, I'm pretty sure is from, like, 1950s, okay? He might be, like, from the 1960s, actually. Definitely a guy that looks like he has... What kind of helmets? The leather helmets he used to wear? Kind of look like that type of player. But anyway, though, let's just kind of go through here and take a look at some of these players and get right into the season, because every single player is 9 years old, guys, and it's a interesting situation. Hang on, guys. And we have the Vikings won the Super Bowl. Shout out to the Vikings. Took them forever to do so, but they finally actually won the Super Bowl. And Andrew Luck was not the MVP. So the Vikings have Adrian Peterson's MVP. Andrew Luck was the MVP of the league, though, and was the player of the year on offense. But he could not get it done in that aspect. All right, so the Dolphins were the best team in the league. The Vikings second best. So I guess all that trash talk I said about the Vikings, they kind of took it to heart because they actually were successful. The Steelers went 1-16. Weren't the Steelers like one of the best teams in the league this whole entire video so far, and now they're one of the worst? This is... Why is Jamarcus Russell still your quarterback? Bro, I don't know what's... Tom Brady. Hey, what's up, Tom? You're still in the league. You haven't retired yet. RG3, apparently really good quarterback. So I go through here on some of these quarterbacks. Kurt Warner, Charlie Batch, Drew Brees, Jay Cutler, Cam Newton, Dwayne Haskins, RIP. Eli Manning on the Dolphins. That's an interesting one. Especially after he pissed a fit because he didn't want to be on the Chargers and he wanted to be with the Giants. So kind of interesting. Jamar Lewis is still having 1,100-yard seasons in 2021. Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. Kyler Murray on the Jags. Okay, Stephon Diggs leading the NFL. Derek Mason is still apparently one of the best receivers in the league. Anthony Gonzalez. Okay. Chad Johnson still one of the best receivers in the league. I mean, look at how many receivers are hitting over 1,000 of yards. This is insane. Randy Moss, still 981 yards. Still doing it. Getting the job done. Shout out to him. 19 sacks. Sue is still awesome. Michael Strahan still up there. Elvis Duneville. Got James Harrison still kicking it. James Harrison in his 20th season. We got Terrell Suggs still putting up double-digit sack numbers. All right. Interception totals. You know what I'm interested in, actually? I mean, I guess I'll go through these real fast because I want to give respect to all these players here. But I was going to say what I'm interested in is Ray Lewis. Yeah, no, in his 26 years, still getting 2 interceptions. Still playing a very high level. He is still with the Ravens after this whole entire, you know, with how long we've been in the league so far. He is still with Baltimore. That is crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the next draft class. And hopefully the portraits are correct. 2022 draft. This was the Cam Taylor-Britt draft for the Bengals. 2021, I believe, was the Dax Hill draft. So this is Trayvon Walker draft. This is definitely not correct portraits. What is going on here, bro? All right. Yeah, this is the Brock Purdy draft, though. So this is when Niners fans get happy. The 2022 NFL draft. Let's just see. Trent McDuffie looks a little bit different than he does in real life. Alright, so again, just don't bar the pictures here. Kenny Pickett goes to the Eagles, which actually is where he goes in real life, which is interesting. Well, now he does. He went to the Steelers drafted wise, but now he's on the Eagles, which I guess that's kind of interesting. Who's the next quarterback we have? Oh yeah, so the 2022 draft was weird because Desmond Ridder is the second quarterback here off the board. The reason why this is weird is because the quarterback market or the quarterback situation in the 2022 draft was awful. Like, this was the year you did not want to take a quarterback. And then following this up next year after this was when we had the situation with the Bryce Young and, CJ Stroud. But this was not the year to take a quarterback. This is probably one of the worst years to take a quarterback in recent memory. But let's go ahead and get right into the season, guys. Another year. Another. Raiders went 8-9. I feel like they've gone 8-9 every year in this franchise. Oh, not every year, but the last 6 years. I feel like they've gone 8-9. 9-8 Colts made the playoffs. Okay, that's not that crazy. We have a lot of 4-3, 13 teams. Okay, and again, the Steelers went 1-16 last year. This year, the next year in the franchise, they're 11-6. So 1-16 to 11-6. That is a absolute W, Pittsburgh. Tom Brady's winning MVP. Clinton Portis is MVP for the Commanders. Kenny Pickett's Rookie of the Year for the Eagles. This is quite the interesting scenarios. And Jamarcus Russell is in his 16th season with the Raiders. Yeah. Talk about a situation we got here. Joey Galloway, still in the league. Anquan Bolden, still kicking it. We got John Henderson, John Abraham, Thomas Howard, Chris Long. So still a lot of great players in the league and still playing very high level. RIP, obviously, to Sean Taylor. I lost him way, way too young. But let's just take a look at some of these updated stats here. So passing stats, it looks like no one beat the single season passing stat in a while. Neither did they beat the single season or single game. Sorry, not season, single game. Nope, nothing there. We have 2015. We already talked about Green here. 2021. Okay, so Clinton Portis beat the 5 touchdowns in a single game. He actually tied it, it looks like. So that's interesting. 2013, we already talked about Marquise Colson. Other than that, that's a nothing burger, no touchdowns. Catches, this moment in time, no. 2022, Lance Briggs had the most, well, had the tied for 6 sacks, which is almost the most up there. Nothing for interceptions. Okay, how about seasons? Seasons, we have nothing. Okay, we have 2022, Brett Favre had 48 touchdowns in a season, which Brett Favre still doing it, man. Tom Brady, 47 in a season. Okay. It's interesting in 2022 with all the current players. It's just funny because a lot of these current players, they don't really get an opportunity to start or play because their predecessors are so good. Drew Boston, Seahawks, 2019, 24 touchdowns, leads the NFL now in the history of the NFL. We also got 2018 here, Derek Mason for the Colts, and 2021, Derek Mason leading it still. Look at that. Older guy still kicking it here. Defensive sacks, 2022, Henderson, 24. Interceptions, nothing. And then career, I'm not sure if these are being added to, like, the actual players. I'm not sure, actually. They might be. You can go back to the beginning of the video and check this out and see if they're being updated. I believe they're being updated. But let's go to receiving yards. I'm just going to look through all of them just in case. I wish they had years for these, but I guess they really wouldn't in theory because they're always, you know, being updated. And it's like every single stat or yard the player gets, it updates automatically. But we do have is 2023's draft class. So let's go and put local file here and let's go to the 2023 draft, which is right here. And the player portraits are going to be absolutely horrendous. But yeah, so this is the CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson draft. 1 second. All right, so let's look at this draft. CJ Stroud went to the Seahawks. Interesting. Okay. Anthony Richardson went to the Jags. Zay Flowers went to the Chiefs. that portrait... Ain't no way they used that portrait for my man. Miles Murphy went to the Eagles. In real life, went to the Bengals. Lucas Van Ness in real life went to the Packers. Oh my lordy, there's no way they used that portrait for Zay Flowers. Oh, that's hilarious. Anyway, Hendon Hooker went to the Cardinals. Interesting. Someone like Spencer Radcliffe, I know, like, in real life, obviously, he went to the Saints, and he went to the Saints very late, actually. Stetson Bennett, Jake Hayner, okay. Interesting. I'm just going to see where these guys went. So, wait, no, Spencer Radler is the next year's draft. I'm an idiot. Okay, never mind. He's the next year's draft. Let's get right into this year. And the Vikings won the Super Bowl back-to-back years. And the 10-7 Dolphins. Interesting. Yeah, so the Vikings, ever since I said, like, they just don't know how to win. Apparently, they're just winning nonstop, and they're becoming one of the best teams in the league. So, with that being said, Trent Green for the Jets won MVP in 2023. It's weird to say these names. Didn't know how long ago they were in the league. And they're still very successful in this franchise. It's weird to say that out loud. So here's what I'm going to do, okay? We're going to do the 2024 NFL draft, okay? That's what we're going to do. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to sim to the end of this franchise. Which is, I believe, what, 30? No. Because I started, I can only do 30 years into this franchise. So it's going to be another 14 years. So I'm going to sim around 14 years in the future, okay? All these players will still be in the league. We're going to, number one, see what their stats are looking like, okay? How good they are, how bad they are, you know, etc. We're also going to be looking at records that they break. We're going to see what happens with certain records here and who's breaking what records, all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to, again, like I said, we're about to sim 14 years in the future. So I do want to go ahead and take a look at the overalls of each position right now, Jamarcus Russell's on the Saints, and he's a 99. These guys are all 8 years old, which is interesting. We have a lot of 99 quarterbacks, as you can see. But I'm going to reset everyone's age to 5 years old. And then we're going to sim again, like I said, to the end of this franchise. Now, offline franchise, you can only go 30 years. So it's going to be, a good amount here. A good amount of, years that these players have been playing for. Because we have, like, this guy, Martin, who's been playing for 25 years at this point. Wes Welker, 20 years. 25 for David Boston. 28 years. And, I mean, we can go even farther and farther down the list than that. I mean, some of these guys have been playing for a hot minute, okay? And even the newer players, they really can't get a chance to become good. That's the one problem, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Irv Smith Jr., he's an 83. But some of these newer players can't even, get a chance to become superstars because there's so many already superstars in the league that they don't get any reps. And then teams start taking these guys and adding them to their squads, and they become dominant because of that. So it's a very interesting system, I'll say. But for example, Charles Suggs has been in the league for 21 seasons at this point. How many is Ray Lewis? Ray Lewis has been in the league for 28 years. All right, hold up. I gotta check this out real fast. Okay, so after playing for the Ravens since 1996, 27 years with the Ravens, he finally leaves the Ravens and goes to the Jets. That's interesting. All right, so he finally left. The Patriots got DeMarcus Ware in his prime, nonetheless. That's insane. But let's just go through the rest of these. So, again, so many older names, man, still in the league. And also so many 99s as well. Wait, hold up. Sean Taylor's on the Seahawks? That just feels weird. That feels wrong. 100% feels wrong. What's crazy is, like I said before, all the newer players of the last 5-6 years, they're in the league. Like, they're here. It's just they're not, in these, they're not actually good. Which just goes to show it's just crazy. Anyway, NFL Draft 2024. This is the Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., etc. So, I'm going to go ahead and show off the draft, and then we're going to kick forward to the end of this franchise. And let's see how this NFL draft goes. Who's getting Drake May? And, the other guys as well. So, we got Brock Bowers went pick number 1. Wow. Caleb Williams goes to the Bills. Drake May goes to the Broncos. Bo Nix goes to the Bengals because in this franchise they don't have Joe Burrow. This is interesting. All right. Going down this list here. J.J. McCarthy doesn't go to the 3rd round to the Falcons. There was a lot of rumors, actually, he wasn't going to go until later on in the draft. All right, so we're about now to sim 14 years in the future, guys. So, all right, so I stopped it right here, which is 2035. Technically, this franchise can only go to 2036 because I started in 2007. But with that being said, we did have the Rams win the Super Bowl here versus the Ravens, interestingly enough. So let's just take a look at this. Got some make-believe players now who are winning MVPs and becoming very successful. Interestingly enough, Matt Hasselbeck in 2034 was the MVP of the year. We are truly in a different area. The Browns MVP, Tom Brady. Brett Favre is winning MVP in 2032. Kurt Warner, back-to-back MVP award winners. Jamarcus Russell won in 2029. Jay Cutler won the MVP in 2028. Why are the Jaguars changing their quarterbacks every season? Jamarcus Russell. So the Jags just keep winning MVP. Well, hold up. Bears, Cowboys, Bears, Packers, Cardinals, Jaguars. Jags had Jay Cutler. So they went Jamarcus Russell, MVP. Jay Cutler, MVP. Back to Jamarcus Russell. Mark Bolger. Matt Hasselbeck, Andrew Luck, Lordy. All right, so this video was all over the place, and I love it. Eli Manning now is a Raider, apparently. Philip Rivers still kicking it here with the Vikings. Peyton Manning is with the Rams at this point. We're gonna look at the final players here, but wait, is that Marshall Faulk? Hold up. No, Who Faulk. Okay. Who Faulk. Gotcha. Priest Holmes on the Packers. Still 1,400-yard seasons. Yeah. Larry Hamlin. Okay. Anquan Bolden's still very successful in the league. I mean, these players now they're cruising in on 31 years in the league, guys. 31 years. That's like 50-60 range. Clay Matthews, still one of the best. Von Miller, still one of the best as well. Looks like we have interception. Antonio Cromartie still doing good. Brian Urlacher, 3 interceptions in his 31st season. Ed Reed is still kicking it here, 31 years in. Ray Lewis is now on the Rams. So, where did Ray Lewis here? He went from St. Louis. He was on St. Louis for the last bit of time. So it looked like he went from Baltimore to New York, and then he went to St. Louis. Alright, interesting. And yeah, that's the Ray Lewis model. Actually looks very accurate to him. It's actually not that bad, like, how it looks. Anyway, yeah, no, we're looking at some beautiful things here. So let's just take a look at records. So nobody broke the passing yards in a single game record. I wish we could go farther than this, by the way. I wish we could go, like, just keep going endlessly, but sadly, that's just not how the franchise works in Madden. There has to be an end date. Sean Alexander in 2023, single game. 2032, Willis McGahee for the Rams, single game. Oh, okay. 2032, Priest Holmes. We got some nothing here. Receiving yards, receiving touchdown. 2027, 5 touchdowns. Receiving touchdowns. That is. Nothing catches. Defensive sacks. And 2022, Lance Briggs. 2034, Smith. 6 sacks. Okay. Never thought I'd see some of these guys actually break records this late in their, careers. I mean, I guess 30 years in their careers. Tom Brady with the Bucks, but Matt Hasselbeck, 3rd most in a single season in 2034. 2026, Mark Bolger, passing touchdowns. We have 2022, Brett Favre, 2022, Tom Brady, and 2033, Clifford. I think that's a make-believe player. Rushing touchdowns. 2028, Willis McGahee had 27. Willis McGahee in 2035 had 26. Adrian Peterson having 30 is still the best, period. And it looks like LT had the most at 28. He actually tied it in 2008 in this franchise. And in 1990, he hit it as well. But he's still in the league, so he could still, break that record anytime he wants to. 2030, Wes Welker for the Jets. It's kind of funny he's on the Jets, to be honest. 2024, Hines Warden, 2024 for the Chargers. Oof, that's a interesting set of events. Defensive sacks, okay. 2033. We have defensive interceptions. And then let's just go to career. So it looks like the career is actually updating correctly with the players in the league. So like Tom Brady, for example, 111,000 yards. So this is actually updating correctly as we go through. It's funny because John Kitna is still in the league today in this franchise. Obviously in real life not, but in this franchise he is still in the league. So it's kind of insanely crazy to say that. But all these players on this list, for the most part, are still in this game. We are still rocking a lot of these players. So what it looks like, oh yeah, these older guys are still putting up. These guys are still in the league. So You know, the newer players are the ones that are having a hard time actually be able to take over and become starters. All right, so let's look at each team. It's going to take a little bit, guys, but I want to go through each team, give them the respect they deserve. So for the Bears, they have Michael Vick and Braden Clifton, who's a make-believe player. 299 quarterbacks. By the way, age 26 and age 6. Devon, this is a make-believe player, so their backs in general is make-believes. Wide receivers, they got C. Smith Senior, who is 6 years old and 99 overall. They also got Ike Hillard, who is also a real player. Interesting. Delaney Walker. Really don't know offensive lineman as well, other than like the obvious names. Kyle, yes, guy, still there. Like I said, listen, I know most of the players, but there's some guys I even. Bobby Wagner, okay. They got Lance Briggs still. Wow, he's been there forever. Peanut Tillman. What's his name? Charles Tillman still on the team. Have not gotten rid of Brian Russell. Have not gotten rid of some of these guys. So it looks like some of these players, I mean, they've been there for like 30 years. Cam Newton and Brian Grease is on the Bengals. That's beautiful. Jameel Cook. Okay. DeAndre Hopkins on the Bengals. Delaney Walker. I just love how these players have not regressed at all. And they're all like 99s because they've been in the league for 31 years. When you're in the league for 30 years, man, it's like you're either good, I mean, you either become amazing or you're just not in the league for 30 years. David Garrard is still in the league. Wait, that's Jason Peters? That's Jason Peters. Okay. Kevin Mawai is still in the league. I don't know why I keep saying he's still in the league. I mean, these guys, all of these guys are still in the league. They can't leave the league. I did not let them retire. Because how are you going to retire when you're 10 years old, Jason Campbell? Yeah, no, you can't retire when you're like 10 years old. You try, it'd be kind of an awkward scenario. R.I.P. Junior Seau, by the way. Did pass away. Champ is still oh my lordy, bro. Champ and Jalen Ramsey in the same secondary with Brian Dawkins and Harrison Smith. That is a nasty combo. Brady, Jeff Garcia on the same team. Browns, you guys are crazy. With Shad Johnson, Jimmy Graham. Joe Thomas is still there. Looks like he's still there for 31 years. Derek Burgess, okay. Bart Scott, yeah, he's still in there. Eric Berry, Loyal Malloy is still on this. Like, I mean, on the Browns, that is. Because he was on earlier in the video. Big Ben's on the Bucks. With Steve McNair, R.I.P. Terrell Owens. We have Jermaine Gresham. Dang, these teams, man. Some of these teams, realistically speaking, you put some of these guys together, these are dream teams. I know this is kind of what, this video is, but still, some of these guys would be dream teams to still have together in the league for this long. And you got what? DRC, and then you got some make-believe players. I do like the kind of mix between the make-believe players and the real-life players. It is kind of nice, because it's like, okay, these are make-believe, these are real players, and it kind of blends together well. Although, again, like, a lot of the really great players we think of today, they just aren't here. They're here, but they're probably on free agency, because they're just simply not good enough to make these rosters. Some of them they can, but some of them they can't. And then the problem is some of them don't have a chance to develop. I mean, the only real way you can get good in the NFL is if you develop and you play. And if some of these guys just don't play, they're never going to be able to develop. So they'll find their way on the roster, but they won't be able to beat out the starter, which is always the tough one. So I'm going to look at free agency in a second, because I'm pretty sure free agency probably has some interesting players. Carson Palmer, Charlie Batch, and Nick Boykin. Marion Barber on the Cowboys. Toy Holt, Calvin Johnson, Jerry, I'm pretty sure Kyle Pitts at this point would have been passed away at this point. I mean, we're talking about 30 years in the future here. Well, technically not, but technically so. We're technically 30 years in the future, but we're not really, because in the franchise we are, but in real life, this is only 12 years. Frank Gore and the Dolphins, I think he did play for the Dolphins at one point, so that's actually not that crazy. Dallas Clark, kind of remember him. Remember him more with the Colts and then the Ravens. I think he played for some other teams as well, so it's actually a couple teams he played for. Patrick Mahomes on the Eagles with Matt Schaub. Okay. With Patrick Ricard. Interesting. Mercedes Lewis, big dog. Only reason I even know that nickname for him is because Aaron Rodgers. Derek Brooks is on the Eagles. Okay. Dexter Jackson. Falcons got Brett Favre, Alex Smith. See, again, like there's probably like Joe Burrow I have not seen yet. Steve Smith and Deshaun Jackson. We're both 99s because they've been in the league for 30 plus years. Oh, man. D'Angelo Hall is still on the Falcons, which I believe he was in real life too, so that's actually cool. I thought D'Angelo, did he play for the Commanders at one point? Pretty sure he was the Washington team at one point. Feel like he was. I don't know. My memory might be crazy because I've done this video for 6 hours now, guys. This video has taken way more. This video has taken like 12 hours to do, by the way. This is probably one of my longest videos I've made in quite a bit. I'll say quite a bit. I mean, we did make the, like, the preparation for this video took forever. But when it comes to the actual video, I think the longest videos are definitely going to be the, what videos? The, USA map ones, the, imperialism ones. Those take the longest. But this video, we've been working prep-wise, probably like 7-8 hours. The actual video-wise, probably like 10 hours. Which isn't bad at all. Andre Johnson on the Jets. Interesting. That's another interesting lineup. Alright, so let's keep it rocking and rolling. Lions. Yeah, I mean, there's like... Again, I mean, Patrick Mahomes was in this. But like, bro, where is our boy Joe Burrow? Where's Shiesty? Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu in their prime on the same secondary. That's some nasty freaking work. Nasty work. Anyway, guys, sorry for the cut. But Priest Holmes on the Packers. Greg Jennings still. And Martellus Bennett. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I guess now looking at all these squads aren't all 99s. I figured that with all the 99s in the game, I thought they were all going to be 99s. This receiving core is nasty. But for the most part, Tony G on the Panthers. Interesting. But for the most part, it's like kind of like sporadic. Like some teams have the 99s, some teams do not have the 99s. So it's kind of like back and forth. Matt Ryan on the Patriots. Okay. Interesting. Tamaha Lee on the Patriots. Nice. That's a interesting situation there. I don't know if Justin Tucker like ever joined an actual team. Eli Manning on the Raiders, even though for the longest time they had Jamarcus Russell. But then he left them and was actually an MVP, 3 times and won a Super Bowl. So I guess technically speaking, anything is possible. Nandi Ashmore still on the Raiders. So apparently Nandi never left the Raiders. Wait, do they still have Janikowski? No, they don't. Okay. I feel like 2007 they had Janikowski. The Rams got Peyton Manning, Willis McGahee, Roy Williams, Joshua Collins, Ben Watson, Andrew Whitworth. Oh, this is an interesting team. This is Ray Lewis. Tell me down below, all these lineup we're looking at right now, right? If you, let's say, forget the team that you like, okay? Whoever you like and is your favorite team. Which team would you root for? Out of all these lineups, if this was like, let's say this was real life right now, which team, if you had to pick one team to be your team, which team would you root for? And tell me why down below. Because there is a lot of, I feel like, a lot of teams. I mean, if you had to choose a team, there's a lot of players. I feel like a lot of people would like certain teams because that Champ Bailey stack with Jalen Ramsey, that would cause a lot. And with Brian Dawkins also, a lot of people would like that just based on that fact. Like, that would be probably a huge fan base just because of that stack right there. And some of these stacks are freaking ridiculous. Not every single stack, but some of them are really ridiculous. Like Samari Roll, Corey Graham, Eric Wright. That's actually not that bad of a stack. I don't know why I backed out there, but... So we have a couple more teams left here. Let's go back here, and we have... Well, we have the Seahawks, the Steelers, Texans, Titans, and Vikings. There we go. Stafford, Breeze, and Jamarcus Russell. Now Jamarcus Russell is the third quarterback on a team. I still can't believe Jamarcus Russell is so good in this franchise. He's so good, but he's so bad for so long for freaking the Raiders, man. Maybe the Raiders are just cursed. Maybe that's the thing here. The Raiders are just simply cursed. Okay, I have not seen Joe Burrow yet. And Joe Burrow is going to be 10 years old in this franchise. So there's no way Shiesty should not be in this franchise. And also, I just remembered, yeah, that Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed stack was nasty. Mod Green, Anquan Bolden, Bubba Fanks. If you guys have any other ideas you want to see, though, about, like, doing franchise video series, tell me down below and I'll do them. I'm up for any ideas, honestly. These are always fun to me, so I love making these videos. It's kind of like a, a little change of pace from my Ultimate Team content on my other channel. So I love doing this because it's just fun to do, man. It's fun to see some older players and also see how things interact in Madden. All right, so Burrow's not on the roster, which actually concerns me because I know he's not retired, but that means he's on free agency. So what we're going to have to do here, okay, is we just went through all 32 teams. We're going to have to go to franchise mode here, okay? And I'm going to turn off free agent bidding. I'm gonna make it manual for me. So trades and free agency, okay? Off-season free agency bidding. I'm gonna turn that manual because I want to see what free agency looks like, and I want to see what ends up happening here. So in theory, I said that was the last year. We technically have one more full year, but I'm not gonna do it because it's gonna like glitch the game. Just how I have this mod set up. But let's just see what free agency looks like. And I want to see who's on free agency. Because I'm going to guess it's probably a lot of players you probably know and love. It is. Okay, holy crap. Aaron Brooks, Andrew Luck's on free agency. Big Ben, Charlie Batch, Carson. Oh, yeah. So when I was talking about, like, why is Joe Burrow not signed? I actually know a lot of players got cut. A lot of these guys. Okay, so... in theory, a lot of these guys actually just realized free agency is flooded because a lot of these players didn't get re-signed. CJ Stroud, there's Joe Burrow. All right, so let's actually sim through this free agency and see where people go. Because I feel like there has to be these guys get signed. I mean, Joe might not get signed. With all the quarterbacks you see in free agency right there, there's a chance that Joe Shiesty does not get signed. I mean, at some point, you get to a point where you have too many good players. Where it's like, okay, well, Shiesty, I didn't see what his overall was. I think his overall was, like, way down there. So, man, I hate to see it. I hate to see today that Shiesty can't even make an NFL team. All right, so let's get forward one more time, and we're going to